So I'm gonna do a video called MAACO Paint Job, was it worth it? And I'm standing about at the point where the paint doesn't look too bad. I mean, you can't see a whole lot of issues going on with the paint or its durability, or I mean, if you're in person, yeah, you can see something going on, but keep in mind this is a truck that was driven on the farm often and sometimes blasted down a county road with no regard to what happened to the paint. So you can see all up in here, you can see it starting to chip and come away. This was a pretty large dent that I had fixed, and the Bondo was cracked about a month after I had it done. Also, if you have any kind of rust and you live somewhere around the Salt Lake area, Denver, further north, you can expect this to start happening to your crap. Well, that doesn't really have anything to do with the paint. This right here is probably the most noticeable. I didn't paint the bed, I just kind of cheaply lined it, and obviously done by a very young kid back in the day because it all came off. But let's focus on the actual MAACO paint job. You can see right here it's starting to come down. They did not remove this back window to paint it, so just the minor imperfections in taping caused these tiny little lines to show up, and when it was brand new painted you could not see that. But now, as it deteriorates, it's getting real bad. You can see it all the way across. Same thing with the top. You can see little streaks of white. I don't know what this is about. This wasn't taped off very well. And surprisingly, the door jambs have held up probably better than all of the rest of the paint on this entire truck. You've got some chips forming here. And I've gone over this several times and tried to correct some of these chips that have showed up. Hood gets slammed just a little too hard and you get some of these. You can see it starting to chip off here. It's definitely coming up here, coming apart. And it looks like I'm gonna start having some troubles here. That's for another day. They got this sprayed in pretty well without even removing the bed, but I think once I remove the bed I'll see how it really looks. Obviously not the same hood that I had on it when it was painted. Definitely not the same hood. Now this fender is where it's having most issues. I've touched this up over and over, but there's some sort of imperfection here and it just kept coming off and coming off. A little different angle at that. And this one fender had one tiny rust spot in it, and that's what it became after only a few years driving around in Salt Lake City. Yes, I washed my truck a lot, but it wasn't gonna save that. You can see the rock chipping, not very durable, resistant to scratches. I mean, I don't even know if you can see this in the camera, but somebody walking by with their coat zipper scratched the heck out of my truck. Got a ding from the airport parking lot right there. Again, you can see what's going on this bottom side of the window here. I mean, door jambs were not done too badly. I mean, it looks all right. It's not really falling apart. I mean, that's maybe the one thing that could not be touched when I repaint it. I don't know, probably do it up anyways. Some of the paint's coming off these pieces that spring and whatnot. But overall, not terrible, but not perfect. When I did this, I wasn't really going for perfect. I was going for what I could afford. Now that I'm older, I understand that this was maybe one of my bigger mistakes that I made. Oh yeah. And I thought I specifically told them to remove the bumper when they did this, but they didn't. And so there's this space here. This dent and stuff was from somebody rear-ending me a couple of years back. You might notice that the hitch is at a tiny angle. I don't know if you can tell, but I was rear-ended. The hitch saved me when I didn't have to do too much work to it. There's also really minor things like this where I was still using it as a truck and I just barely brushed this, either with my foot or putting something in. I don't remember exactly when this came from, when or where I got this, but just simply still using it as a truck, this paint will not hold up to everyday abuse, especially this stuff up on the rail. I mean, I kind of retired it from hard work. You can tell that this has been used for a work truck in the past. If you come back here, and this is what bugs the heck out of me. I don't know if any of you can see that, but there's about 100 dents all along the side of this thing. I also didn't get a new tailgate when I had it painted, because who can afford that, right? And so this tailgate has pretty much always looked like this, but eventually it's gonna have a brand new tailgate and it's gonna get painted again. It's probably gonna have an entirely new bed because this one is just crap, I've decided. So I guess if you're going for cheap and for right now, doing a MAACO paint job is not too bad. I don't even know if MAACO's still in business. Some of my friends told me they were going out. I haven't checked on that to really find out, but it is definitely worth finding a friend who's a potty guy who can do this stuff and not charge you an arm and a leg to do it, and to do it good, to do it right. I didn't do it because I'd previously tried to paint a couple of projects and it was just a hassle, just an absolute hassle. So that's why I took it to MAACO when I was 17, 16. I think I'd only owned this truck about a year and a half and I decided to have it painted. It used to be white. I'll throw a picture of it up in the corner or something. But it used to be white and silver. It had the bottom part, the bottom third of the rocker panel, I don't know what you call it. It used to be silver, but you know, maybe in the long run it should have been left silver. Who knows? But I really love blue. I mean, I just love this color. I love the way that white looks on it when you add stickers. I love the way it looks with silver stickers. I mean, it looks great. Black looks good on it too, so I could have black rims, I could have chrome rims, I could have aluminum rims. By the way, if you're wondering, these rims are American Racing. Don't know much other than they're a 17-inch rim. Some of you rim guys will know exactly what they are. You can drop that down in the comments if you want to. Decided to come back in the truck because it's warmer and lighting's better on my face apparently. And give you a little bit of history and plan for Old Blue, the truck that I call Old Blue, the one with the HX82 giant twin turbos. So let's address one question. The first question is, why and where did you get, well, it's two questions. Why and where did you get the HX82? Well, I got the HX82 from a friend that works out of a giant open pit mine up in Utah. And if you're from Utah, you know what I'm talking about. It's the Kennecott Bingham copper mine. And he picked up a turbo from his work for cheap. And I happened to be talking to him. He's like, I've got this giant turbo and I want to sell it. And I said, well, what do you want for it? And he told me a number. And I said, well, do you need anything on trade? And he's like, well, I'm looking for some Dana 80 axles. And back then I'd just torn apart the POS truck, what we call the POS, the green race truck that I'm eventually going to build one of these days. And I had a Dana 80 out of it, and I said, well, I've got one of those, so we worked a deal out. I brought it up to him and traded it to him, and brought the HX82 home. That was probably almost 4 or 5 years ago, and I hung on to it forever, just one day promising to build the HX82 into a twin turbo setup, compound turbo setup, and have fun with it. And forever I wanted to do it right. I wanted to have all of the supporting mods, everything there, in order to build this HX82 into this truck and make it go fast. So fast forward 4 years and it's still not built. It's sitting on my shelf. I have most of the parts, and I said, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna build this thing and I'm gonna just detune the crap out of it and run it as is. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing all these odd parts on my truck, like a factory balancer. Like, what the heck, who has that on a truck that's running over 1,000 horsepower? Well, this guy, because A, didn't have the funds to do all of the supporting modifications at the same time as the HX82. I already had it. I just said, screw it, I'm gonna build it, run it, detune it. So that's why I have the HX82. That's why you don't see a ton of supporting mods. Yeah. So future plans for Old Blue. It's my truck. I plan to update a lot of the supporting things, like it needs a better fuel pump, it needs a better harmonic balancer, it needs probably bigger injectors eventually. It also needs a higher flowing cylinder head, better intercooler. I mean, there's a number of things that it needs, and eventually those things will come down the pipe. It's just not all at once, because any one of those things cost a lot of money, and young family trying to farm, it's kind of the last thing on my list when it comes to things to spend money on. So it'll eventually happen, just stick with it. There's a lot of farming videos on this channel. I know a lot of you joined because of the Old Blue drag truck, but hang tight. I mean, there's lots of things going to happen with it. You just gotta hang with me, support my channel, and, you know, keep motivating me to build my dream truck, basically. This technically would be my dream truck. I bought it when I was 16 for $2,200. It was a 5-speed manual back then, and I took a ride in a buddy's truck, and it threw the change out of my pockets when lockup hit, and I was like, I gotta have me an automatic. And I went one step further and had the ratchet shifter installed. I built the manual valve body myself, learned how to modify the valve body for second gear lockup. All of this I learned on my own / through forums, and it's turned into what it is today. Well, I hope you enjoy this little bit shorter video of the MAACO paint job, kind of the plan of the direction where this is going. I know it's not all that exciting, but trying to produce a little more truck content since it's the winter time and I don't have anything else to do. So hit that like and subscribe button, follow along, and turn the little bell on so you can be notified when I drop a video. But thanks so much for supporting my channel. See you later.